All right, so hello, I'm Terry Nelson, board member at large at Beacon Arts, and this is the first of what I hope will be many talks with local artists. And our first one is Margot Kingon. And
Hey.
hey,
Hi.
if you have a Facebook account and you're friends at Margot, then you're familiar with her family photo album. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and just about art in general and how it's been since the quarantine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Getting used to the new normal.
How's the family holding up?
We're good. We're okay. It's overall I'm grateful. We're all healthy. We have heat and hot water and toilet paper and food, so we're in a good place. It's taken a little while for everyone to find their rhythms, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, we're in the same. Well, I'm in the same boat as you. I have a
yeah.
only child, teenager at home. So
Right. Yeah. We very quickly realized in the first couple of weeks that the thing that we really needed to do for everyone was to just give everybody their space. That, yep, we're in the same house, but we are fortunate enough to have a big enough house that we can each have our own space. When Josh and I first met, we were living in a tiny railroad apartment in ghetto Williamsburg. And I keep thinking what this would be like if we were living in that kind of a space where there weren't any doors. It was just, you had to walk through every room to get anywhere.
oh wow. So was it like at one of those railroad apartments?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
gotcha. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the family photo album and how that got started.
Yeah. So for a couple of years now, I've been doing some version of a photo a day, mostly because I really struggle with maintaining a regular studio practice. I work freelance, my schedules are all over the place. I never know one minute to the next. And so when I do have a chunk of time, there's always this kind of decompression, couple of days, and then I get into the studio, and then it's time to go back to work. And so everything is always out of whack. And I figured that one thing I could do consistently was just take a picture. Technology is incredible. We have cameras on our phones. It doesn't, and it also, so it wasn't just taking the picture a day, but also looking for a little bit of beauty in the world every day. And, once you kind of have that goal in mind, I was really surprised by where I found it. So once we went into lockdown, I wasn't going to be going to the city. I wasn't going to be looking for new things. I feel like I might have exhausted every spot of light in my house already. So it was a way, well, I guess there was a few things that it did. One, it was a way for us to do something together
Hmm.
because we weren't doing anything together besides eating dinner. My son went to the basement, my husband went to the office, I went to the studio, and we were just kind of doing our own thing. So I was really feeling a way to stay connected. So it was a fun, and I have to say the most surprising thing out of all of this is my son never resents having to do them. He is always up for them. They don't take that long. He comes up with ideas as much as the rest of us. So it's been a really great 5 minutes of family time that is kind of special and unique. Um, I've also come to notice that when I was looking back at my past, photo a day series, when I looked at the photograph, I knew exactly where I was and I had a sense of what that day was. It's kind of like keeping a journal. I'm not good at keeping a writing journal every day, but a visual journal I can do. And so I could look at a picture of, a dead tree and I could remember exactly what the weather was like. And so I thought taking a picture of our family every day would give me some sense of what was happening every day, the length of our hair, the outfits that we were just regurgitating or the meals that we were having. And
It looks like you guys are having so much fun. And when I first started looking at it, it just got more and more interesting. And so it became like a daily thing. It's like, okay, what are they going to come up? So who comes up with the idea? Is it Jameson or is it you?
It's collective. It really is collective. I think I probably started it because, so just to get the technological stuff out of the way, I'm just using an iPhone and a self timer and this ridiculous jury rigged tripod that's not even a tripod. Um, so I make the frame and I set them in, and then we see what happens. But sometimes it's been like, I don't know, what should we do today? What kind of a picture should we take? There was one recently where Josh suggested going on the roof. So it was this whole like, well, how are we going to get down from the roof within 10 seconds? And so it was this, I wish we had a video of it all, because it was pretty remarkable that Josh can actually get down from the roof in 6 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Jameson was like, well, all you have to do is jump off the roof over to here and roll over here, and then you'll be able to. So it's very collaborative.
Wow. And,
Yeah.
I've worked in film production, and you do as well.
Yeah.
And just by the way you frame everything, you can tell that you have a film background, and they look amazing.
I spend sometimes 12 hours a day looking at a video monitor, looking at the frame of what we're trying to light.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not unfamiliar to me, to be able to find a frame quickly that's going to work. Of course, I'm really trying not to make them works of art. I'm really trying to have fun with them. Like, I don't want them to be, as you can tell, like a lot of them have a sense of humor to them. Some of them are a little bit more, serious than others. And I will say that on the days when it's hard, it's hard, when there are those moments of like, I can't do this anymore. I need to go sit in a restaurant or shop at Target or, whatever it is. It's hard to get motivated, but they always rally, and it always makes me feel better. So it's definitely like a mental health exercise.
Yeah. One of the casualties of the shutdown was this great project that Linda Kimmel had put together called Two Writers, One Photo. And it was a series of your photos, and two writers would, give their own perspective of it. And, I was included in that, and a lot of other local writers were. And that was the one thing I was really looking forward to doing.
Me too. I was very disappointed. I mean, I'm kind of holding on to that as a, like, when this is over, we can do that again,
Well, we're going to have to talk to Linda and make sure that we get this going again, because
Yeah.
it was so promising. And I looked through the pictures that you sent, and you have an amazing eye.
Oh, thank you.
And your pictures just come to life, and they tell a story of their own. So as a writer, I'm like, oh, this is gold. I can do this, So,
Awesome.
so hopefully we can get it on track again.
Yeah. One of the things about the coronavirus family portrait album is I love how people are kind of injecting their own narratives into the pictures. It is one of the gifts, like, that an artist can receive is a viewer's interpretation of what's happening, because often it has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on with me, and it's actually really helpful to hear other people's perspective. It just gives me another way to see the world that I hadn't even been considering. So, I was looking forward to those stories just to see where people's creative energies flow from.
Oh, I was excited to hear other people's stories and their
Yeah.
interpretations of it.
Yes.
So are you doing any other artwork at all? Or are you finding yourself lacking creatively?
I think that I am, the first 3 weeks of lockdown, I was in like an artistic flurry. I was going into the studio every day for 3 or 4 hours, like cranking out work. I have a studio filled with this whole like lockdown. I did a whole series. And then that series kind of came to a natural end. And now I'm like, now what? Now what? I kind of get to this point where I feel like I've worked out an idea and I'm satisfied with it, and now I'm ready to move on to the next thing, and I'm not really sure what that next thing is. So in the beginning it was fabulous. Now I'm feeling the challenge.
Right.
I've also, it's not uncommon for me to have this flurry of activity in the spring, and then for things to kind of shut down as we move into summer, because my son is home from school and my husband Josh's work was always a little crazy, so I was just around more and just didn't have the headspace to get into the studio. So I'm a little used to this like flurry, and then it dies down, but there's no, there's just this white noise, this constant white noise. So there's no reason for me not to be making art right now, except for the fact that I have to find a way to refill the well.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure how to do that. So
It's difficult because my experience was when it first started happening, I shut down. I couldn't really write anything. I didn't have the desire to do anything. And I mean, it was painful.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I write I write music reviews, and I wasn't slated for anything for months.
right.
Yesterday was the first thing I wrote, and it felt good, you know. But I understand, like, when you feel like the well is empty,
It's
it,
really hard.
it's a bad place, man.
It's a bad place. And, I'm really trying to embrace this idea of it's part of the process. And you have this huge outpouring, and, it's like running a marathon. You go and you exert all this energy and you burn all these calories. And now you kind of need to rest and sleep and eat. So I get that that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but it's not a comfortable place for me, you
Well,
know.
well, the family album has been like one source of joy for everybody during this time of uncertainty. And
I'm I'm really glad to hear that. That's great.
where else can we see your art? Do you have a website?
I do. It's very, very out of date. So I do post most frequently on Instagram, and my handle, is that what it's called? I don't even know what it is. My Instagram name is just M King on Instagram. So that's where really most of my work from the last 3 years is, because my website's not happening.
Hear you.
Can I do a little shout out? That I just wanted to tell folks something. Julie Shiroshi, who I'm sure a lot of Beacon people know, has organized a fundraiser / art sale for Fairground. And for those of you who don't know what Fairground is, they have been addressing the needs of the food insecure people in town. They've set up the little food pantries in Beacon and Wappingers, and they're going to have one in Newburgh shortly. And since the COVID-19 pandemic struck, they have really been ramping up their efforts to help feed people, and they've been distributing boxed, bagged dinners for people. So they have had some very gracious supporters, but they are running out of money. So we're trying to help them raise some money. So we, Teresa Gooby and James Case Leon and myself are co-creating this online art show where 50% of the profits will go to Fairground and the other 50 will go to the artists. And we have a really amazing group of artists that have agreed to sell their work at very, very reasonable prices. And that's going to be happening at the end of May. So I don't have the website yet, but if you go to fairground.org, there will be a link there. And so it's a great way to help artists and to help feed people who don't have much right now.
And we can also get that information on Beacon Art's website and get that distributed that way as well.
Fabulous. That'd be great. Thanks.
Margot, thank you so much for giving a little bit of your time. Say hi to Josh and Jameson for me.
I will. Thanks for this. It was really fun.
And I hope I see all of you again soon. Take care.
In real life, wouldn't that be nice?
Until then, be well, be safe.
Thanks. You too, Terry. Take care. Bye.